acres are being brought into the district. So I have a letter ready to go for those landowners that are being annexed in, which I have also in closing this report. And the commissioners, when we sat down, it does look like that everything looks like it should. We are gonna make the district correct by annexing in these lands.
It's quite a bit, with almost 75 acres.
Yeah, and some of those are for the ditch, but there's still some up there that are for the tile system that should have always been in there. You know, they used to just go fence line, so it's nice to get that actual watershed. And the parcel to the right of, who lives there? On the north side of Charles's.
Oh, you need Dave Albertson.
Nope. Is that the land that it is? Okay, yeah. They have tiled into the main tile. That's why they're gonna be in the main tile schedule. And then it goes down into the ditch.
So the,
And Carl Wagner's parcel up on the north, where the big pond is, that is in a permanent wetland. So he did get a good reduction for that because it will never be farmable. Also Mark Johnson on the south side of the road where those trees are, it is so sandy there that it's in a CRP, but they were given a good reduction because it will probably never come out of those trees. Now that they're built out the way they are, that would never be farmable. If somebody in the future ever were to farm it, they would probably regret the decision because of the money that they would spend to take out all those trees and then realize that the ground isn't that good of soil.
those trees were planted there.
They were planted there, correct. And so they were also given a great reduction when we do get to the reclassification schedules. I'm off topic, so. So if the annexation looks good to you,
So the tile that crosses the highway, right here.
by Johnson's, or where?
It's
I'm sorry, it's
closer
upside
to
down.
what are their names, that other acreage. Between Paul, west of Paul,
Oh, okay.
there's a tile that crosses the highway there, it goes, it must be in the right of way of the.
It goes to the
state.
right of way to the ditch.
It goes to the ditch, not the tile.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. That was looked at. Mhm.
Okay. So our action would be to set a public hearing.
To approve the report, and my recommendation is May 27th at 10 a.m. for the annexation hearing,
So May 27th, what?
at 10 a.m.
I'll make a motion to approve the annexation report for DD 878.
I'll second it.
We have a motion by Derby and seconded by Jonesboro to approve the annexation report. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I will make a motion to set the public hearing date for the annexation into DD 78 for May 27th at 10 a.m.
I'll second it.
Motion by Derby, seconded by Jensvold. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Number 4, consider for approval reclassification report for DD 78 and set this up public hearing.
So this is, again, bringing in the right parcels into it, doing the factors in determining the parcel's benefit to the ditch and to the tile system, the distance from it, the use of it, the runoff, and the adjustment factor. So again, you know, Carl Wagner got a good reduction because of his permanent wetland, and then Mark Johnson did because of his trees.
Did they
So,
both voice concerns before that? Or did
no,
it just
we
come-
wanted to make sure of what it was in. Was it permanent? Was it 30-year? Things like that. We wanted to make sure that we were giving the right reduction as far as, could it ever be farmable again? Would it be? So we found those answers and did that accordingly. And Scott, I think yours went down maybe a little bit, and the DOT, has a good chunk. So,
Looked okay to me.
yeah, good. Yeah, because in the main 1916 schedule, there probably wasn't a highway, so it was all secondary roads. So this is helping that out probably quite a bit.
I think that put in at like 30, 31 or something.
That's a pretty good guess.
They're using federal dollars to do a lot of those.
Mhm.
Originally it went by the one of 150th past to us, pretty sure. There's a DOT map you can download online that shows that. Went up to the bulk plant, then it went west to the schoolhouse, and then went north on 150th. What is now Highway 9.
Hmm, that's kind of cool.
So that's why the parishioners out there, on another subject, they want to pay.
Mhm.
It's supposed to be a state highway.
Sure, let's go back to the 20s and get her fixed up right.
Do we have a motion to approve the reclassification?
I will make that motion.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion by Derby, seconded by Jensvold to approve the reclassification report for DD 78. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And this I have May 27th at 10:05.
I'll make a motion to set the public hearing date for reclassification report for May 27th at 10:05.
I'll second.
A motion by Derby and seconded by Jensvold to set the public hearing date, May 27, 10:05. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? All right,
Thank you.
thanks, Chris.
Yeah, and I gave you,
This one back?
oh yeah, I do. And then do you want copies of it?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll put them in your box.
Okay, Scott, secondary roads.
Okay, so we have rafters on our building, and yesterday they were working on some of the anchoring work there. So that project is moving right along.
It blew down last night anyway.
I haven't heard that. I would
It
think I would
looked,
have
it looked
heard.
pretty straight when I went by anyway.
Yeah, we were, the anchor bolts that hold the, steel plate and the vertical members, they were working on some of that yesterday, so. Good they got that done. All the three sides, those anchors were in, but the fronts were missing, so. Good to get that done. We got our builder's risk insurance activated on it now that we got some above ground structure, so covered there anyway, in case of a problem. But I guess the, winds weren't quite like as bad as
North of here.
possibly predicted here. North of here is worse. Yeah, I was watching those little narrow bands of weather just kind of cut through the area last night, and really Forest City got spared. I had an inch of rain and a little bit of pea-sized hail, but
That's what we have Lake Mills too.
We probably had died nickel size hail.
I saw KIW reported some, I would say 1 inch hail in Buffalo Center.
That's about what I had in my place too.
That's,
I believe, Mike Dressler's wife.
My sister sent me a bowl full of
On the south end of town, Buffalo?
quarter size
That's
hail.
that's what, Dressler's wife had on Facebook, I guess, so.
So that was kind of spotty different too over there.
And that's, but yeah, on the south side it was that big, and on our side it was small, I think.
Yeah, we have, we expect Dustrol to begin their work the second week of June. You know, they have the milling work and the hot and place recycling work and what will be 5 projects around the county. South of Buffalo on R16, north of Buffalo on R20, the roads around Rake, the port of Osmus, R50 and A30 south of A16. They have quite a few pieces, so they'll be here for maybe 3 or 4 weeks.
What's their ideal weather? I mean,
Well,
just not rain and,
not rain, but if it's too dry, they have the tendency to start things on fire too, so there's a, you know, conditions that they're trying to avoid there as well.
I would think warm weather for the milling would be helpful.
Yeah, you know, they're trying to heat things up, so if they get wind, that's hard on them, more so than lower temperatures. So the wind will get underneath their burners and just give them all kinds of fits, trying to get it hot enough. So I'd say wind is the main thing, so that, you know, that can come in any season.
All the wind this spring, just the train throwing sparks from its wheels has started several fires along the railroad
Yeah.
tracks. And they've got brand new ties laid along there, they're really gonna put some of them got caught on fire with burning.
Those will smolder for a while, I imagine.
pretty exciting.
Yeah. It's illegal to burn.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last piece is I'm trying to finalize surface treatment work for this summer. This would be, in addition to all the TIF work, we have some money in the budget for surface treatments. So we're gonna be doing some GSB 88, which is the black seal that we did on our 50 north of Highway 9.
Fog seal.
Yeah, it's a fog seal and it's a reclamite product. You have to Google it to get better details on it, but it's supposed to be kind of like a premium asphalt product that's supposed to penetrate into the surface of the asphalt and, you know, it gives it a nice fresh rejuvenation to the surface and seals up the pores, kind of tightens up the surface and gives it a nice stark black look to it also. And then part of the work's going to be reclamite, which is, they call it a maltine-based sealer, and maltines are the sticky, flexible component of asphalt. So it's supposed to kind of restore the properties that you lose from getting sun-baked all the time. You start to see the road kind of gray up and crack, and it's starting to lose some of those properties. This is supposed to put that back into the road, and this ends up being clear. It's put down kind of like a pink foam, not like a thick foam, but it's just like kind of bubbly, and it will soak into the top half-inch or so of the pavement. And,
Are these all petroleum-based products?
well, reclamite is, I think, found in a solid state in nature. I think it's mined in a solid state. I don't know if you I don't think you'd quite call it a petroleum product.
It doesn't sound like it would be called a petroleum product.
Yeah.
So that's the first step of it, is to put that on, then you do the fog seal.
I've split, no, I have, each one is an independent process. And I've chosen some roads for GSB 88, some for reclamite, depending on their aging condition. We had a couple reps up and kind of discussed what prime candidates are for each of the products, and I did a few others in addition to these that we aren't going to be using for mostly cost reasons. But we're trying to put the correct product at the right time so that we get the most benefit out of it. And it's a pretty economical process or product, and we're looking at doing 20 and 31 miles of these preservation treatments.
20 and 31?
Sorry, I did some math out loud there. 31 total miles.
And what'd you have in the budget for that?
412,000. And then there are 2 miles of microsurfacing that we're trying to fit in also. Farner is one of the companies that we're talking to this year, and they They have you know how microservicing in the past year has been done with a train, basically. It's like, almost looks like a paver, and they back up trucks to it that kind of hook up hoses and things like that. These are standalone units, so they fill up with the 3 products, they drive out to the site and go as far as they can, then they pick up, and then they make around and around. So you have, what I'm hoping isn't very noticeable joints between those trucks, but it makes it more economical for smaller projects. So we got the 2 miles east of the Winnebago Church. Somehow we haven't been able to fit that in our micro program, and it kind of needs some attention. So I think now's the time to do it. So I'm gonna get those quotes finalized and probably executed in the next week or so.
So you're hoping to get all of that we just talked about then this summer?
Yes. We have a busy summer, and we're touching most of the roads in the county with something.
Oh, good news is, it sounds like Faribault County is gonna do from the state line to Frost, so the whole thing up the interstate's gonna be nice now.
Yeah, I've heard that as well, and the last time I reached out to them, they didn't have plans finalized, so I don't know, maybe there's, hopefully we can work together and, you know, make that as painless as possible for the public.
Yeah, it's almost, when they're both connected like that, it's almost like we should've got together, got the bid for the whole works, leave them on their end and ours on our end.
Yeah,
Maybe we could've got a little better bid out of it all.
possibly. That certainly is something we would try to do with Iowa counties. With Minnesota counties, I think it'd be tricky for a few reasons. They have different specifications and bidding rules and all that.
Yeah, but you get in the area, you know, it might be a little friendlier on both sides of the fence.
For sure.
We already locked them in, so they'll probably get a good deal on it.
No, no, it's,
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Hewlin Brothers got that project.
Mhm.
It may be, they may be a already bid it, I don't know.
yeah, I should call the one super commissioner, ask him for a second.
Anything else, Scott, you wanna fill us in on?
Maybe one more thing I'll mention, we got some FEMA payments coming in, if you guys see receipts, I'm not sure. But most of our work is closed out and the paperwork's been approved and everything, so that money's coming in. Of course, the only part left is the ditch cleaning, and that's kind of a standalone project. It was split into 4 different pieces, 3 projects and an administrative project. And so the 3 of the 4 are all getting paid in full, so that's good. That's all I have.
Are we doing any spot on rock, on gravel still?
Yep.
There was one place, I know we did put some rock in, didn't seem to do a whole lot of, maybe the blading back and forth will help, but it's like after we put the rock on, it just turned black with the rain.
Sure. Well, if you got some spots, just,
It was that area where they did the tiling across the road
north of 9 on
on 140th.
140th.
Yeah, I'm guessing one blading will fix it, but it kind of just sunk, not where the tile went across, but closer to where you're at.
Sure, yeah. The guys did a kind of a round of spot loading, and then they kind of switched to touching up dust control areas to get that done and get them kind of packed down before the dust control guys come in here in a month or 2 or whatever. But they still haven't started on the, rock run yet.
The other area that seems to be a little bit of concern is 440th west of Highway 69. Probably about a half mile or so, where you go down to the bottom. It's like that's been a problem quite a bit. There's been potholes down there pretty bad.
Okay.
I don't know if it's because the grader comes down and then digs too much when it transitions at the bottom. I don't know, there's constantly potholes there.
Okay.
south of my shop on that street there, it's as bad as it's ever been.
Really?
It's just awful. I'm like, golly, I didn't see that much of a problem when I'm out driving around the gravel roads here this spring.
Yeah, I haven't seen that either. You know, you see some of this, like, it's almost a little bouncy, like the material is, I don't know, bouncy is,
Spongy.
I don't know what kind of
Yeah.
word you'd say,
To
but
go around.
that's
it.
about the worst of what I've seen. And if you drive through
People's
that over and
parking
over and
lots
over,
are
you'll fall
worse than
through.
our roads.
Yeah.
Hometown markets.
It's crazy how, I don't know if you've been past Hometown Market, but it looks like a bomb zone.
They seem to have some trouble there.
Well, they built it in a bottomland.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They've done a lot of tile and they've done a lot of rock, it doesn't quite get
it
it all.
doesn't change the soil type or the water table.
In order to get around the crossbar, this is the south side of my shop, people are, they're driving in the yard on the south side, they're driving on my yard. Grass is probably still the right way, but, it was just boiling up. You couldn't go over it with a car.
Hmm.
I mean, it's boiled up and big with gobs of black and lead coming out of it, and like, it's just a really bad spot.
Hmm.
Well, anything else for secondary roads?
Oh, the only other thing, it'd be going east of Leland, remember where we cleaned out the ditch?
Around that
steep
first
hill that
curve
drops down.
and, yeah.
It's kind of washed out again into the ditch. Is there some way to stabilize that back slope to keep it from doing that? It seems like it's more on our end of it, where it's the back slope that fails.
It's not cutting back into the field.
Well, the back slope washed away, and yeah, there was some dirt coming from the
And I
field.
wanna say the solution is waterway into the field, or some sort of a armored channel further up in the field, but without looking at it, I can't say for sure.
Because it's enough to where it ponds behind it,
Yeah.
in the ditch. Just look at it, see.
Yep.
I never did get over here to sign the contract. Did you get that, send it in without my signature?
The plans,
Yeah.
I did send them off to get with the change order materials, and I said I'll send the final set when I get it, so I got that here today.
I was just thinking I should have just had you give you permission to use my stamper. I never thought of that until.
Yeah, well, you know, it's not like I was sending it through a formal letting, so now we'll just back up and send out the new plans.
I could have come Friday and I never did think of it.
That's not a big deal. We'll get it signed today, and that'll be the official copy that goes out to everybody.
So is that for all of us then, this one?
Give that to you.
You good, Scott?
Mhm.
Thank you. On claims? Anybody look at 'em?
I didn't have a question.
I didn't either.
Got a lot of stuff ready to stamp though. I believe.
What else is on the agenda? Used to have it up on the wall.
Talk about secondary roads taking over the ME and the EMS program. You guys got money, you can do it.
If we're qualified.
Oh, that's fine, we just wanted to check it.
Yeah, you got equipment you can haul people off with, though,
Yeah,
you know.
we'll make it work.
Payloaders.
Things to load.
Dump truck.
Most of it doesn't even have a passenger seat, so I don't know if that would,
Yeah, just flopping in the back.
For the most part, a one-man job. You
good
got
luck
that
with that.
hydraulic tilt, you're fine.
is open forum.
So you gotta let them have the rest of the year off to build their dam, so you have to go out with a backhoe and clean it out.
And have meetings.
Yeah.
This is
Yeah.
just, is it your signature there, and then your signature here, please. You've already signed one, I needed more. I just like to have a couple.
China?
Yeah,
Okay.
sorry. No. It's nice though, because I can roll
It's not as long.
and not be loud.
I'll make a motion to approve the county claims.
I'll say,
Motion by Derby, seconded by Jensvold to approve the county claims. All in favor, say aye. Motion passed. Open forum. I'm assuming we're here to talk about. Joe and I have spent a lot of time discussing the medical examiner crisis that we're about to face.
Experience.
And,
I don't think it's, Carla thinks it's a crisis. I'm comfortable with where we are because we have a B plan for June 1st. We have Hancock County. I've been talking, nothing official, but I've been talking with Cassuth County about, helping out until we get our feet under us. Carla's just nervous naturally.
okay.
I'll accept that. But yeah, we've got to get moving on it.
So there is a medical examiner class, June 2nd through 4th, down in, where's this one at?
That one's in Des Moines, ain't it?
Yeah, it's in Ankeny.
Yep.
So, they have to register by Friday. So, I pulled the budget for the autopsy and medical examiner fees, which is where we have taken out money for training for this in the past. And I feel like we have a pretty good cushion, it being almost May tomorrow, or Thursday. And we have $21,000 left in that budget. So,
What's an average death cost?
well, it depends. Depends on if it needs a medical examiner, it depends on if it needs transport, it depends. So,
Like transport,
Between-
700.
transport 700, medical examiner is 2,100 approximately, 21,
By that you
22.
mean Ankeny, like the
Yep,
state?
yep,
Okay.
state
So
medical
you're
examiner.
looking at 2,800.
And then the medical examiner fee is 300.
Another 300, so you're looking at 31 to 3,200. Okay.
So
And we
The
get
course-
21,000.
in Ankeny is $500, and then we'd need to help or pay for room and board while they're down there. So the hotel block that they have is for $142 a night. With the tax, it'll be close, probably 175-ish. And
3 nights.
yeah.
The night before, and then 2 nights during,
Mm-hmm.
and home on the 4th.
Yep, so I think we can send, what are we thinking? We talked about Dr. Couché, but I'm waiting to hear back from the state medical examiner's office whether Dr. Couché needs to go or not. But we'd like to send Thomas Gaither, if he's still interested, probably Joe and Spencer.
So they would be investigators there.
Yep.
Yes. And we figured that would give us a good number. I've reached out to Dale a couple times, and we haven't been able to connect to get his future plans, what he's planning on doing. It sounds like Molly is interested in helping out, but she was wanting to resign if she was gonna be the only one. So I think adding 3 and then taking, if we just figure 3 plus Molly, I think that would,
Enough to alleviate
Give us a good
the
start.
load or whatever on everybody.
yeah. That would give us the ability to set up a call schedule, and then we can look next year at sending maybe a couple more. And we've got Ethan too, who's already been through the course. We just have to have the new medical examiner accept him. So like, for us to do it right now, for us to have Dr. Carlson sign him would do nothing, because he's only doing it till the 1st of June, and being you work under him, Dr. Couchet will have to take on Molly and everyone else from there. The way I understand it.
Are we gonna, if Dr. Shea still has to do the class, then we'll pay for that too.
Mm-hmm.
So if so many of you are interested in this that are in your EMS group, is that gonna hard to make difficult for scheduling?
Well, and that's kind of why I initially said I don't really want to do it full time. Like, I'll fill voids, because clearly,
Yeah, but we need you elsewhere.
yeah, if Spencer, like, say, for example, Spencer's on the truck and he calls in sick, and I'm on call for ME, well, now what do we do?
Mhm.
I think it's gonna be something we'll have to work through until we get fully up and running, but I don't foresee it. And the way we run right now is, yes, there's a call schedule, but nobody really follows it. So like, if Dr. Carlson is on call, he might, if we have a death, he might say, well, I'm sorry, I'm out of the area, or I'm busy at the clinic, or whatever. Call the next person on the list. So it's more of a calling tree than it is a call schedule. It's just who gets the first call, basically. It works, it's not the greatest,
So
but
there's a plan, though, that if everybody on the call schedule, I mean, if it's only really 3 people, eventually,
3, I'd say 4, because we got Molly. She's hit and miss during the day because she's busy, but nights she's a little more apt to come help out. We've still got we've still got Hancock County to help, and Phil over in Algona sounds more than interested in lending a hand if we need to. Like I said, we haven't done anything official, but he hasn't gotten me dollar amounts, what it would cost to have him come over, but
How about, Tammy Price, is it?
she hasn't had anything to do with it.
I mean, but she's basically the same thing as Molly, isn't she?
I think so. I think they're both MPs.
Yeah.
I think.
You know, if you could get her to.
Yeah,
She just lives over there by Buffalo, so.
I know I've asked her a couple times about ambulance stuff, and she doesn't like the idea of being on call outside of work, so, I mean, wait.
She's got
one-
kids in sports and stuff,
Yeah.
I can understand that, but the medical examiner end of it isn't near as often, so.
Yeah, but you're still on call. Like, you still have to it's not as many calls, but you still gotta be,
Yeah,
you can't be up at
a couple more years your kids will.
Minneapolis at a basketball tournament and wait for it,
Yeah.
Maybe she'd be one of those in the next round.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I think if we get it set up right and move forward, I think we'll have enough people interested in it.
But like
So-
we talked before, you don't want too many to
Yeah.
where you're not fresh enough
Yeah.
to understand the system.
Well, and one thing that I know Cassuth County's done is they had run into, it's not as detailed as like a home death, but I know one thing they've run into was problems with nursing home deaths and confusion, because like right now in Winnebago County, everything's bypassed by the MEI, if there's a nursing home death, which kind of at times can make it a little more convoluted and difficult to get like death certificates and get everything hammered out. So I know like Cassuth County, they've gone to every death every time, where the MEI gets a phone call, and it's, like I said, it's not as detailed as like going and doing a home death. They just ask a few questions, they don't get paid as much, ask a few questions and fill out the online report just to try to simplify the process or take questions out later on. It sounded like they had one that was portrayed to be normal, and then just a normal expected death, and somehow when the ME filled out the death certificate, he marked it as a fall, and then the state office was calling, wondering where the MEI's report was, and the MEI's like, I don't know what you're talking about, and it kind of got to be an ugly situation. I talked to Isaiah, and he's fine with not transporting if, like, we were to figure out a way to make it work to transport, using like a response unit or whatever. And the idea behind that is to try to generate revenue to replace fly cars. So he's like, I'm not gonna be sad if we don't. He says, I'll keep doing it, but if you guys have another plan, he says it never fails. We've usually got 2 funerals going on, and then you guys call with another one, all to Ankeny. He's like, so it's usually a big thorn to get everything.
So did we talk about who would be doing the,
Billing and scheduling.
yeah, and filing of the
So,
reports?
Jamie said that she would help, like, train my office to do that. What else did you ask?
I think it's less than it used
Oh,
to be.
scheduling. Joe's probably gonna take on the scheduling,
Scheduling.
and then my office will take on the rest.
And I think the paperwork side of it, now that everything is web-based, is less than it was, you know. I think some of the files and stuff she has, because by the sounds of it, there's not really a paper copy of anything. You know, it's more the billing than dealing with all of that and getting paid and so on and so forth.
So that would kind of eliminate the middle person.
Your office is okay with that?
Mm-hmm, yep.
Like you said, you kind of do.
Chris does the claims for it anyway, so
Anyways, yeah.
it's fine.
And how would you keep the records, the paperwork done and stuff, or?
Well, if it's just in the system, that's,
It's all web-based.
Good enough?
yeah, that's good enough. We
You don't
do,
have to find space for it in a,
no, we do print, we have copies already that we keep with our claims, so it's not,
For so
mm-hmm.
yeah.
And then, like, they would handle, like, death certificates or, you know, questions, that kind of thing, right?
Well, the death certificates will go to the recorder's office, and so and if they need the medical examiner report, we'll have them contact
You
the
could-
state.
Oh, okay.
So we'd just have the contact information for them? and
Yep.
They'd be able to,
Field the phone calls.
Yep.
sounds like a plan.
And the more we get in, you know, the more we get into it, maybe it's something where we could access the report and just print it for them or whatever, you know,
Sure.
charge them $20 for the report to get printed here and simplify their world or whatever.
Yeah, so they don't have to make those
Yeah.
contacts. So you brought up the sending people to the
class.
classes, and you're thinking 3 people and at those numbers, and we've got plenty of money in that fund.
Mhm.
Yeah, because it'd probably be I would say probably 2 hotel rooms the 3 nights, and then 3 days down there.
So we don't pay mileage and food on any of that, do we?
Well, I suppose if we treat them like a county employee, we would, if you take the fly car down, that's,
We take the fly car, we can drive my pickup, whatever, it's not gonna kill me to drive to Des Moines. Like, whatever.
so if they take, depending on what they take, we do pay mileage. We pay meals, we have a meal policy, and then we pay the hotel, and then for the class.
I just thought we should just get it out there so that we have it figured out ahead of time.
I would pay mileage for the election people, so.
Do a boys' night and have, order in pizza. Do a cheap meal.
I like pizza.
Can't go wrong with it. Pizza and wings.
Well, I think it's worth the investment of the budget.
I do too.
The other thing we talked about is just having a small agreement that says, you know, if we're gonna send you through this class, that you have to
Do it.
serve for 2 years or whatever.
The ambulance does, most of our EMS agencies do the $1,900 EMT class, and then after completion of the course, they're required to give us 2 years for the $1,900 course. So, I don't think it's crazy, because by the time, if you're doing a hotel and everything else, you divide that by 3 people, throw in mileage, I mean, you're not far off, or throw in 1 meal a day. You know, you're not far off from the price per person to ask for 2 years. I think that would be,
So I'm gonna work with Kelsey to draw that up, and then I'm gonna have the guys sign up for the class, and we'll go from there.
What was the class itself again?
It's called Midwest Death Investigation Course.
Sometime, huh?
you
So-
said, that's June.
June
third,
2nd,
fourth.
2nd through 4th.
Sounds like you keep it riveted to your chair.
And the dollar amount of the class
Is $499
per person?
per person.
I think that'd be a good investment.
Guess it would give you different things here than you would learn on the East Coast or West Coast.
Probably.
That's the Midwest.
Oh, yeah. All right, do you need any
Not a lot of rattlesnake bites
confirmation
here.
on this, or just
Just,
Not actually
happy with
for us,
that?
but
Oh.
yeah, I'll make action, we'll do action when we do the agreement, finalize that, and,
Yeah, the amounts and stuff on it.
Good. All right.
so your deadline to sign up is Friday.
Friday, so
So-
I gotta get the boys together.
Chop,
and
chop.
Beat that now.
Yep,
Okay. You feel better now?
I do.
Are you
Thank
gonna,
you.
do you know about Dr. Couchet by then?
Well,
If we don't get an email back from him today, I'll shoot him a text and tell him to check his email, get your poop in the group.
we both sent him emails, so
A little outlay to the
This guy
program.
Mason?
Chicago.
Chicago, he
Oh,
lives
that's
in
the one in
Chicago.
Chicago.
Yeah, he lives in Chicago. I don't know when the last time was he worked in the ER, but he does PRN, ER stuff here.
Hmm. All right. Anything else? You good to go?
I think so.
We're good.
Good. Anything else for open forum?
Yeah, I'm wondering about when the Board of Adjustment Committee is gonna be held. It's been about 6 months since I got notification from Matt that my Board of Adjustments review was approved, and there's been no action yet. And it's not fair to either party involved to allow a business that continued possibly to operate in violation of the zoning agreement for 6 months. And it's not fair to the aggrieved party to have to wait that long to have a Board of Adjustments review meeting held, so.
And Board of Adjustments, is that always just as needed, or do they have?
Well, if you read the rules that are currently set forth, they're supposed to meet quarterly. And the last meeting that I attended in person, Kelsey was gonna look at adjusting, amending those rules, but the Board of Adjustments has to approve those rules. Since the way that the rules are currently written, the Board of Adjustment is supposed to set their own rules for how they operate. So, I'm just sort of curious when we're gonna get some action on this.
We can check on it and put it on the agenda for next week and see if we can have Matt here and find out when he's gonna have a meeting.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Ask him to schedule one. That might be the best way. Thoughts?
Well, it wouldn't hurt to have Matt here for a couple different reasons.
Yeah,
We have a few things to ask him about.
we do.
He's scheduled to be here.
That is May something.
Yeah, let me just look.
We set that one last week, that was on Benny,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, what did we set for that?
Yeah,
We'll
May
coordinate
6th.
with that.
He'll be here next week anyway.
Okay, so he'll be
Okay,
here.
Okay.
we'll send him some information that he needs to come prepared.
No, I think it's all in there.
Yeah, that's true.
And thanks for including me on your communication with him, so.
Yeah. Thank you.
Under open forum, just a question for
Yeah.
you. You had sent a picture of a culvert or an outlet.
Yeah.
Where was that at?
That was on, it's 440th.
Right,
It's on, I think that's, I can't remember if that's Pike's Run
is it the pipe that drains the ditch?
Well, it comes from the ditch and then so it drains the ditch on one side, then it runs at an angle into the dredge ditch, so it goes across. So I was.
Is it on the north side of the road or south side of the road?
North side of the road.
Okay, yeah, then I know, I saw that one the other day.
Yeah, so it starts at, so I didn't know if that would be the drainage district's responsibility or secondary.
In the road right away.
Yeah, cause it starts in the road right away, so.
I just wanted to make sure I was
Yeah.
talking the same one you were.
Yeah, so that's where that was at.
Alright. You guys don't farm, what I would call the Coon Grove farm, just west of the fence there? There's the Peterson farm there across to the north where the ditch is.
But so this would be from Grace's house would be to the mile, the section to the north, and then to the east. So that's where that culvert washed out at.
So, yeah, it's the road that goes on the north side of Grace's, right?
Yep,
Yeah.
and then back to the east,
But
about half
the
mile.
ditch goes like this to the
Yeah.
west.
Yeah,
Where it crosses the fence line, you don't farm
Correct.
past that, okay?
no,
All right.
correct, yeah.
There was a couple culverts like this there.
Oh,
Old
yeah,
rusty ones and,
yeah, I think, I'm not sure who's farming that
I
currently,
don't know, crawl farmer or not.
yeah. So,
I was just kind of inspecting the ditch up and down there to see if there's, what repairs we have to do on the ditch.
gotcha,
All right, thanks for your info. I'll do it.
thank you, appreciate it.
Okay, well, we'll have questions for Matt then on May 6th. Anything else for open forum? None? All right. Then we stand adjourned.